Alright, so today we're talking about the AK-47 in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This weapon is the final AR that you unlock, and it deserves to be there, because this weapon is both unique, powerful, and slightly frustrating. And I think the final gun that you unlock should be all of those things, with a little splash of iconic, and if that's not the AK-47 in this game, I don't know what is. This weapon is, for lack of a better term, not for noobs. You can't just slap a red dot and a foregrip on this, put this dot on somebody at long range and hold the trigger until they're dead. This weapon has this little crazy thing that the M4, the Kilo, and the M13 seemingly forget about, recoil. This weapon's gonna require you to manage your recoil by mounting the weapon, unlocking attachments, and feathering the trigger at mid to long range. But this recoil can be useful, seeing how this weapon does a lot of damage, especially to the head. This weapon can get a 2-shot kill if you land shots to the head. From what I found, the AK-47 can't get a 2-shot kill if you land a body shot and a headshot, but it can get a 2-shot kill if you land 2 headshots at close range. And I kind of felt like mid-close range was about the cutoff. If you can picture that in your head, mid-close range. Not mid-range, not long range, somewhere in between mid and close. That 2-shot headshot might seem powerful, but then we have the rest of the weapon's attributes to talk about here. Using the vertical foregrip, or I believe it's called the operator foregrip, anything that provides recoil control, which is the vertical kick of the weapon, recoil control, and then a muzzle brake, and then a sight, you are still going to be kicking a lot. And this is where the gun gets a little frustrating, because so many ARs in this game, so many weapons in this game, are so low recoil that they can take you out from over the hood of a car, no problem. If you try to take out somebody that's only showing their chest up, you're going to have to be far more precise than they are. So my main tip for using this weapon is do not go into the open areas on maps that have lanes that people can watch from, chest high cover, head glitch spots. Do not enter middles of maps. Try not to walk in front of windows with this thing. I recommend running tune-up and dead silence, and then using this weapon to flank. Couple that with a smoke grenade to clear large areas, because you are not going to compete against weapons like the Kilo, the M4, the PKM, the M91, any of the sniper rifles, most of the marksman rifles. You're not going to be able to compete in longer range engagements if they have cover, even in mid-range engagements if they have cover. I'm not saying the recoil is completely unmanageable and you'll never land your shots. I'm saying that if they're using anything accurate, the gunfight is immediately in their favor. You're going to want to stick to the mid to close range engagements with this weapon. Do not challenge power positions, do not run into middles of maps with this, use flank routes, use smoke grenades, and more importantly, in my opinion, use your head while going through the maps. Go into a private match and wander the maps and go, okay, where are my angles of exposure? How many angles am I exposed to, and how can I limit it? Now, a lot of maps are a little overwhelming in this case, but I think with some practice, we can get to the point as players where we're not constantly putting our asses in the open, while also not pitching a tent and camping all game. The name of this gun is Flank, Flank, Flank. But if you do get to an area that you can mount your weapon to a wall or window, I recommend doing so, because this weapon can put out some good damage, and if you tap fire it at a distance, you will be able to get some decent kills. Just don't try to challenge power positions with this weapon. If you know there's a sniper or an AR looking over a long lane, avoid it. But how does this weapon do in longer range engagements? Well, I found that if you use the bipod, which is a fairly early unlock for the weapon, coupled with a higher zoom optic and a muzzle brake, you can hold lanes and get ranged kills pretty well. You're just not going to be quite as good as a Kilo or an M4 in this situation. LMGs and snipers as well, they're going to beat you in these types of engagements, but the AK can compete if using a bipod, muzzle brake, and a higher zoom optic, and then you're best off crouching or proning, because that bipod obviously will reduce a lot of that recoil, and you'll feel very accurate. At least I did. You'll feel very accurate with a higher zoom scope, muzzle brake, proning with the bipod. You might think that sounds like camping, but on maps like Anya Palace, like you're seeing here, this type of playstyle is possible with the AK despite its heavier recoil. This thing pumps out damage, and that damage is what makes the weapon versatile, because every other handling trait of the weapon makes it feel a little less versatile. But here's my preferred setup with the AK-47. The Merc foregrip, the Spenstaz Elite barrel, the muzzle brake attachment, the hollow sight optic is what I'm liking right now. You can swap that out for anything else you like or for whatever suits your needs. And I'm enjoying the skeleton stock. Now when it comes to the stock, I will swap around a couple different things. If I'm on a larger map, I will switch to fully loaded, so I don't have to worry about getting ammo. If I'm on a smaller map, I might use 40-round magazines instead of the default 30-round magazines, so really the skeleton stock can be kind of swapped around willy-nilly. This gun won't be for everyone right off the bat. It's not the best at taking people out of head glitch spots and power positions, which is a big part of Modern Warfare's multiplayer. Its rate of fire doesn't make it perfect for close range engagements, but if you can land upper chest or headshots, you will kill somebody very quickly. But that's really the thing about the AK-47, is that it's going to require you to be more accurate than other people have to be with their weapons. The M13, the Kilo, the PKM, the M4A1 require less from their players than this one does. This requires a lot from the player. Positioning, trigger feathering, and just the right attachment setups are required to do well with this weapon, but what I'm happy to say is that after all of that, it does well. Once you learn it, it does do well. It's not something you have to make excuses for, you just need to adapt to the playstyle required to use it. Getting hit by an accurate AK-47 player feels like you just got dump trucked, and that's what you want to give the enemy players that you're facing the feeling of, like they just got hit by something that they couldn't have avoided. But that's going to require some persistence, some attachments, and some tactical thinking on your part in the sense of, where am I going to be in the next 10 seconds, and will the AK work in that engagement distance? Do I think the AK-47 is underpowered? Not at all. I think that it's good for what it is. There's many more versatile weapons in this game that anybody can pick up and hold the trigger down on and not worry. But the AK rewards a more skilled player, and it makes the gun feel special and satisfying to get kills with. It pumps out crazy damage up close. If you want to use the AK but you hate the early levels of the weapon, just mount it up and watch lanes. You might think that's boring, but welcome to Modern Warfare. This isn't the fastest Call of Duty around, and you're gonna have to play with a handicap until you start unlocking attachments. Again, my setup on screen here: Merc foregrip, muzzle brake, Spenstaz Elite barrel. My favorite sight is the hollow sight for the AK, and then, you know, skeleton stock's good, but anything else that you want to use, you feel comfortable with, is a valid option. It's not the most competitive weapon, but it's definitely one of the most rewarding and satisfying weapons I've used. So that's my opinion on the AK-47. I might make another video on it once I get it to max level, but I wanted to talk about it now because I'm enjoying it, and I put a poll out and you guys wanted me to talk about the AK-47. So the next gun I'm talking about is the M4A1, or as people are calling it, the most overpowered broken piece of shit gun in the game. Other than the Olympia, which needs a fucking nerf. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out. And let me know what you guys like about the AK-47. How do you run it? How do you not run it? Why don't you run it? What makes it bad? What makes it good? What did you have for dinner tonight? Let me know all of that and more in the comment section below. I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.